Schmo with the pro with the number 7th ranked UFC Lightweight the Irish Dragon Paul Felder here in the UFC PI. How we doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
The Schmo can't complain. You healing up there? I know you had the orbital fractures. You're getting some work done over there. How you feeling, Paul?
I feel pretty good. You know, I'm still a little bummed out about the loss. It was a close fight. Obviously, I'd be much happier taking away that win, but physically we're healing up. The calf's still a little sore, but as you can see, it's only been a week and a half. The bruises are all off of my face. It doesn't look like I'm going to need surgery on any of the fractures, so hopefully just 6 to 8 weeks, no sparring, and let everything heal up. Just work on the road and get back to it.
Yeah, who won that race to the hospital between you and Dan Hooker, by the way? The Schmo's been curious.
I did, actually. I arrived first, and then he was right behind me, and that's when we got that sick-ass photo with each other in the hospital after, you know, a damn good battle, man. You know, even though I didn't come out on the winning side of that, that was one of those moments that I just been talking to my friends in management about it. That is one of those times that I will never forget that week.
An excellent scrap. And speaking of being behind you, he's behind you coming to Vegas. I know he's going to be here for his teammate, Israel Adesanya. You guys going to run into each other? You're going to have some good stories to talk about?
Yeah, I feel like at this point, after what we put on in Auckland, I feel like it would be just a friendly greeting. I don't know if we're ever going to be best friends, but I feel like if I ran into him, I would definitely go up to him, say hello, and shake his hand and ask how he's feeling. It's not going to be any bad blood. And, you know, I'm a fan of Adesanya as well. You know, I'm a fan of City Kickboxing, so that's why it was such a good challenge for me. It was a gym and coaches and team that I respected. So it was kind of like Rufus Sport versus City Kickboxing in a lot of ways, too.
Yeah, maybe invite him for a donut or a coffee. I know you're into that. Or a Cronut.
Cronut, yes. God, I just got presented one from Heather at the PI as soon as I sat down to get work done, dude. That thing was, I mean, if you're not a donut person, go try a Cronut, a glazed Cronut, and tell me that you're not a donut person, Schmo. Come on.
It's next level. What are you floating around in the 190s now because of that? Looking like you're beefy now.
Yeah, maybe I'll move up to 170 now. Try my hand at that welterweight division after this loss to Dan Hooker and see what's out there.
Yeah, hey, guys like Cowboy Cerrone have gone up there in weight. Now talk to me for a second. Over here the last time there was a Vegas pay-per-view, Conor McGregor, he beat Cowboy Cerrone. Then he called you out. He called you something like a German red-headed, I guess the Schmo will say it, a twat?
Yeah, a twat. That was. So he said some things to me, cage side, at least we thought he did. And again, you know, I had a fight lined up, so I wasn't trying to look into it too much. But there's been a couple times now that he said some things to me and then deleted it on Twitter. So, hey, it's all positive in my eyes. When you got somebody as big as Conor talking to you and calling you names, he can call me whatever he wants, because what's the worst thing that can happen? He wants to fight me? Let's do it.
Hey, money's green like the leprechaun color, right? Hey, luck of the Irish.
Yeah, you could have the Irish American versus the true Irishman. So,
yes, you said you're retired, then you're unretired. Where we stand with that, Paul? It's got to be the right fighter, maybe an El Iaquinta, a sexy type fight for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I'm asking at this point. I know I've put a lot of time in with the UFC, a lot of work, whether I'm as an analyst or a fighter, and these guys know it, the fans know it, that when I'm in a fight, I'm putting 100% of my mind and body and just physically taking damage in every one of these fights. So because of that, I only want things that feel like it's worth it. I feel like main events are worth it, big matchups that are going to move me up the ladder. So if it's not going to be one of those things, I'm very politely going to just not fight again.
But you're also elevating your game in the broadcast side of things. You've got the ESPN desk here for UFC 248. You're doing the fight nights. That seems like a good gig, Paul, and a good career.
Hey, man, it's fun, right? But, you know, until the gloves are officially hung up, it's tough to just do that stuff. It feels good right now. It's only been a week and a half since my fight. I'm on a food tour everywhere I go. I'm eating donuts. I'm enjoying myself. But once we get through 3 weeks of that, I'm cleared to start training again, and I come to these events, I just start getting jealous of these guys that are fighting. I start seeing guys like Dan Hooker already have another fight matched up with a top 5 opponent.
Dustin Poirier in San Diego. You're going to be on the broadcast for that fight night?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be broadcasting that one, so that should be really interesting, especially if I don't have anything booked up to that point. So I'll be watching that one really closely. I'll obviously be watching Khabib and Tony really closely. I'll be seeing what Justin Gaethje plans on doing, what Ali Quinto is planning on doing, how Kevin Lee versus Charles Oliveira plays out. Obviously, I fought Charles already. I know he wants a rematch. I know Kevin Lee is always very vocal about moving up the ladder and calling out anybody that thinks is going to set him up. So there's a lot of moving parts right now. Things are still really exciting in this division, and as long as they stay like this, I'm staying around and I'm going to keep fighting. You know, there's a lot of stuff that can still happen.
It's stacked, but do you need to taste gold to feel satisfied in your career?
I feel like fighting for it at least, you know, and then of course once I fight for it, that won't have been enough. If I lose it, I'll want to get back there and do it again. So that's how it's always been with me in my career. Is I set little goals that are obtainable, but there's always the end result. There's always what I want, which has been the belt. But you've got to go through a series of steps to get there realistically, right? So, you know, being on win streaks was the first goal I set back in the day. Then it was, okay, now I want to get a ranked opponent. Then I fell short a couple times. The first 2 times I got a ranked opponent. Then I beat James Vick, I beat Edson. I've been in there with Mike Perry, up a weight class. So now it's getting close to that belt is kind of the only thing that's left. I've been as high as number 6 in the world. It's like getting any higher than that doesn't really do anything other than unless it means you're fighting for the belt.
Yes, it does. Put that analyst cap on. We got to talk about it. You're going to be right there in the thick of things. Is it going to be Izzy or is it going to be Yoel Romero walking out Saturday evening with that gold strap?
I think it's going to be a fun scrap, but I think Yoel is going to take a lot of shots from distance. I think he's so calm and so patient and so willing to take some abuse because of how tough he is that it's going to just be too much ultimately. And I see a decision loss to Yoel. I think Israel is going to be too slick.
Oliveira or Kevin Lee next week in Brazil?
Man, that is a good one. I think if it goes, I know these are cheap ways out, so I'll just be honest. I think Kevin Lee's going to outmuscle him. But for you people that are on the fence, if it's going to end early, it's going to be Oliveira catching him with something because he is sneaky, dude.
I know it's fresh, but Poirier and Dan Hooker.
Shit, man, I would love to see Dan win that fight, right? Because anybody that, you know, it was an opponent
beats
of mine,
you, that
beats
you
me,
yeah.
I want them to do well. But we'll see what kind of Dustin Poirier comes back after that loss to Khabib. But if they stand and trade and do boxing like we did in my fight, I see Poirier winning that one.
Last but not least, you said his name, Madison Square Garden, April 18th. Tony Ferguson and Khabib.
I'm going to go Khabib by decision, but I think it's going to be a fight of the night, potentially fight of the year, because I think Tony's just so unorthodox and so sneaky with elbows. I think he's going to present a lot of trouble for Khabib.
Listen, Paul, the Schmo would love to see you in Dublin over there in August. I think that really is a nice orange, thick Irish beard, not German.
No, it's not a German beard. It's an Irish beard. There's German in my blood, too, so Conor wasn't wrong. Part of my dad's side is German, but then the rest of it's Irish. You know how us Americans get. We're half this, quarter that, 15%. These Irish guys don't understand that.
Maybe you got a better schnitzel recipe than Stipe Miocic and his family.
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Stipe recipe on that one. I don't know if we've got too much old country cooking going on in the Felder household.
Excellent. Well, he's the pro. I'm the Schmo here at the UFC PI. Paul Felder, the Irish Dragon. We're out.